In a remote desert site, a team of archaeologists, led by Dr. Ava Chen, carefully unearthed layers of sand that had buried a long-forgotten relic. As they brushed away the grit and grime, something strange began to emerge, a shimmering object that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. The sun reflected off its surface, creating an almost hypnotic glow. Their excitement was palpable as they gathered around the artifact that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. Dr. Chen reached out her hand, trembling with anticipation as she made contact with the cold metal. Suddenly, the air around them crackled with electricity, and a bright light erupted from the object, illuminating the darkening sky. A holographic image materialized above it, revealing a striking figure draped in ornate robes with alien symbols etched into their skin. The figure spoke in a language that was initially incomprehensible, yet somehow resonated within their minds, translating its words into a familiar tongue. It warned them of a great cosmic danger that loomed over Earth, a threat that humanity had never encountered before. The alien being identified itself as one of the ancient guardians charged with protecting a powerful key that had been hidden on Earth for millennia. Eva and her team stood in awe as the Guardian explained the significance of the key. It was not just a simple object, but a source of immense potential, a device that could enhance human abilities and unlock knowledge beyond their wildest dreams. It was said that this key could unite the scattered remnants of humanity against any looming threats. As the hologram flickered, the Guardian detailed the history of their civilization, a once great race that had traversed the stars seeking to share their wisdom with fledgling species like humans, but they had seen the darker sides of ambition and greed, and so they had chosen to conceal the key until they deemed humanity ready. The atmosphere grew tense as the team realized the weight of the message. They were entrusted with a responsibility that few would comprehend. Ava felt a mix of excitement and dread as she absorbed the implications of their discovery. Her mind raced with thoughts of what it could mean for the future of humanity. Suddenly, the hologram displayed a map revealing locations scattered across the globe, each marked with a unique symbol that pulsed in sync with the artifact. The Guardian explained that these locations held clues leading to the key itself, and that the time had come for humanity to embark on a quest to find it. But just as quickly as it had begun, the holographic projection began to fade. The Guardian's last words echoed in their minds: "The key is both a gift and a test. Seek it wisely, for not all who come will have noble intentions." Eva glanced at her team, their faces reflecting a mixture of determination and fear. Before they could fully process the gravity of what had just transpired, the ground trembled beneath their feet as a low rumble filled the air, an ominous reminder that they were not alone in this quest. Something stirred in the shadows, watching them with keen interest. Ava's heart raced as she turned to her colleagues. "We need to secure the artifact," she urged. "We must ensure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands." They nodded in agreement. Their mission had just begun, but already they sensed that dark forces were lurking, ready to seize the key for their own nefarious purposes. As night fell, they gathered their equipment and prepared to leave the site. The stars above shimmered brightly, a vast canvas of possibilities. Eva couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental, a journey that would change the course of humanity forever. As they drove away, the glowing artifact sat silently in the back of their vehicle, its secrets waiting to be uncovered. As dawn broke over the horizon, the team gathered in their makeshift camp. A mixture of excitement and anxiety hung in the air. They had barely slept after the extraordinary revelation of the night before, and the weight of their discovery felt heavier with each passing moment. Dr. Ava Chen knew that they were standing on the precipice of something unprecedented. The artifact rested on the table, its surface still shimmering as if alive. She turned to her team. Each member wore a look of determination, their eyes reflecting the shared burden of their mission. "We need to analyze the holographic map," she said. "It could lead us to the key, and we don't have much time." Dr. Raj Patel, the group's tech specialist, nodded, his fingers flying over the keyboard of his laptop As he connected it to the artifact, the screen lit up displaying the ancient symbols alongside their corresponding locations. Ava could feel the thrill of adventure coursing through her veins. The first location blinked brightly on the screen, a pyramid, hidden deep within the jungles of Central America. Legends of the ancient civilization that built it spoke of immense knowledge and advanced technology. We should head there first, Ava suggested as the team exchanged glances filled with unspoken anticipation. Before they could finalize their plans, a sudden vibration rippled through the ground beneath them. They froze, sensing an approaching presence. The atmosphere shifted as shadows moved in the distance. They were not alone. Ava's heart raced as a sleek black vehicle emerged from the dust clouds. It bore the insignia of a powerful corporation known for its ruthless methods in the pursuit of knowledge. The team's collective anxiety deepened. They have come for the artifact, she thought. Dr. Ava Chen swiftly gathered her team. We need to secure the artifact and leave now, she urged, her voice steady despite the fear that bubbled beneath the surface. As they packed their gear, the vehicle pulled closer, revealing a group of suited men stepping out with cold, calculating gazes. One of them stepped forward, a tall figure with sharp features and a confident demeanor. He introduced himself as Victor Kane, the head of the corporation. We have a proposal for you, Da Chen, he said, his voice smooth and deceptively charming. Ava felt a chill run down her spine. We're not interested, she replied firmly, but Kane only smiled, his eyes glinting with malice. This artifact holds immense value. You don't understand what you're dealing with, and neither do your colleagues. His words hung in the air, thick with tension. The team stood in a protective circle around the artifact as Kane's men moved closer. Ava's mind raced. She knew they had to act fast, but the odds were against them. Suddenly, Raj shouted, "I've got the data, transferring it to a secure drive now." Just as Kane lunged forward to grab the artifact, Ava's instincts kicked in. She pushed him away, creating just enough space for them to break free. The team sprinted toward their vehicle, adrenaline pumping through their veins as they scrambled inside. Ava glanced back at the corporate agents, who had now regrouped, their faces twisted in anger. "Drive," she shouted as Raj slammed the accelerator. The vehicle lurched forward, kicking up a cloud of dust behind them. They sped away, leaving the corporation in the dust. But Ava knew this was just the beginning. As they drove toward the jungle, the urgency of their quest intensified. "We need to decode the map," Raj said, his fingers flying over the laptop. "We can't let them take the key. It's our only hope." Ava nodded, her resolve hardening with every mile they traveled. The key was out there waiting for them. The promise of knowledge and power drove them forward, but the shadow of danger loomed larger than ever as they headed into the unknown. With each passing moment, they could feel the weight of their mission pressing down on them. The fate of humanity depended on their success, and they were prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by purpose and the ancient wisdom that had been entrusted to them. As they navigated the winding roads leading to the jungle, Ava Chen felt the weight of the world pressing heavily on her shoulders. The corporation's looming threat hung over them like a dark cloud. She glanced at her team, who were focused and determined. Their lives had shifted in an instant, and they were now on a perilous quest. Raj worked tirelessly at his laptop, deciphering the map as they drove. Each symbol seemed to pulse with urgency. "We should reach the pyramid by nightfall," he said, his voice tinged with excitement and anxiety. Ava nodded, her heart racing at the thought of uncovering the secrets hidden within the ancient structure. As they entered the thick foliage of the jungle, the air became humid and heavy with the scent of damp earth. The sounds of wildlife filled their ears. The lush greenery felt alive, as if it were watching their every move. They parked the vehicle and prepared to set out on foot with the artifact secured in Ava's pack. With each step they took deeper into the jungle, the sense of anticipation grew. The path was overgrown, but the remnants of an ancient civilization peeked through the foliage. Stone carvings and crumbling statues hinted at the greatness that once was. Suddenly the tranquility was shattered by a rustling in the bushes. Eva raised her hand, signaling for silence. Her instincts sharpened. As she scanned their surroundings, the noise grew louder, and from the underbrush emerged a group of figures clad in camouflage. Eva's heart sank. They were mercenaries hired by the corporation. Their eyes glinted with malice. As they surrounded the team, the leader stepped forward, a menacing grin spreading across his face. "You didn't think we'd let you take the key, did you?" Eva's pulse quickened. She glanced at her team, knowing they had to act fast. The artifact was too valuable to fall into the wrong hands. The leader continued, "We have orders to retrieve the artifact and eliminate anyone who stands in our way." Raj whispered to Ava, "We need a distraction." She nodded and took a deep breath. Their survival depended on quick thinking. They needed to create an opening to escape. Suddenly Ava shouted, "Run!" She hurled a nearby stone into the dense foliage, creating a loud crashing sound. The mercenaries turned their attention toward the noise. In that split second, her team darted in the opposite direction, hearts pounding as they maneuvered through the thick underbrush. They sprinted deeper into the jungle, weaving between trees and undergrowth. The mercenaries shouted behind them, but Eva focused on the path ahead. They had to reach the pyramid before they were caught. As they stumbled into a clearing, the sight before them took their breath away. An ancient pyramid loomed tall and proud. Its steps, worn with time but still majestic, vines clung to its surface as if trying to reclaim what once belonged to nature. Eva pointed toward the base of the pyramid. There, she saw an entrance partially hidden by foliage. "We need to get inside before they catch up," she urged her team. They raced toward the entrance, feeling the air grow cooler as they descended into the shadows of the pyramid. The dim light revealed intricate carvings on the walls, telling stories of a civilization long gone. As they reached a large chamber, the atmosphere shifted. They could feel a palpable energy surrounding them. The artifact pulsed in response to the ancient stones. Eva could sense they were close to uncovering the key. But just as hope flickered in their hearts, the ground trembled beneath them. Rocks shifted and dust filled the air. A warning echoed in their minds. They were not alone. Something awakened within the depths of the pyramid as the shadows seemed to stretch and coil around them. Eva steeled herself. Their time was running out. The key was within reach, but they had to confront whatever ancient force had been disturbed by their presence. They had come too far to turn back now. United by purpose and courage, they prepared to face the unknown as the echoes of the past whispered around them. As the dust settled in the chamber, the shadows coalesced into a figure. A translucent guardian emerged from the walls, its form shimmering like moonlight, a majestic being that radiated both wisdom and power. Eva felt a chill run down her spine, yet there was an undeniable allure to the creature. The guardian spoke in a voice that resonated deep within their minds. "You have awakened me, seekers of the key. Your intentions will determine the fate of this world." It gestured toward the walls, where intricate carvings depicted a history of humanity and the ancient civilization that once thrived. Ava stepped forward, feeling a connection to the guardian. "We seek the key to protect humanity from the darkness that approaches," she declared, her voice steady, despite the fear swirling inside her. The guardian's eyes glinted with ancient knowledge. "You seek to wield the power of the key, yet such power comes with great responsibility. Many have sought it for selfish reasons. It must be proven that your hearts are true." Raj glanced around the chamber, its vastness overwhelming. As he spoke, "What must we do to prove ourselves?" The guardian extended its hand, revealing a series of glowing symbols hovering above its palm. "You must confront your greatest fears, face the shadows within before the key will reveal itself to you." Ava exchanged glances with her team. They had come so far, yet the prospect of facing their deepest fears sent a shiver of dread through her. What if they failed? What if the shadows were too strong? But they had no choice. If they wanted to secure the key and protect humanity, they had to confront whatever lay ahead. The guardian raised its hand, and the symbols began to pulse, sending waves of energy throughout the chamber. The air crackled with tension as each team member felt their surroundings shift. The chamber began to dissolve around them. Ava found herself standing in a desolate landscape, a barren wasteland, devoid of life. The sky was a swirling mass of dark clouds, lightning crackled overhead in the distance. She could see shadows moving closer, a manifestation of her deepest fears. She felt a pang of loneliness. The thought of failing her team haunted her. Ava could see them struggling against their own fears in their own realms. Her heart ached as she called out to them. But the shadows were relentless, whispering doubts and insecurities that gnawed at her mind. You are not strong enough. You cannot protect them. Ava gritted her teeth. She remembered the promise she made to herself to fight for humanity, to protect those she loved. Drawing strength from that memory, she faced the shadows, charging toward them with determination. As she engaged in battle, the landscape shifted again, and she found herself in a memory, a moment of failure from her past. She could see her younger self standing alone at an archaeological dig where she had missed a crucial discovery. The echoes of regret washed over her, but instead of succumbing, she stepped forward and confronted that version of herself. I have learned from my mistakes, she declared. I am not defined by failure, but by the strength to rise again. With each declaration, the shadows recoiled, and the landscape began to transform. The wasteland brightened as light pierced through the dark clouds. Meanwhile, Raj found himself in a labyrinth of technology malfunctioning devices surrounding him, whispering that he was not smart enough to unravel their mysteries. As frustration built, he realized he had to confront his fear of inadequacy. With a surge of determination, he began dismantling the devices, one by one, using his knowledge and skills, proving to himself that he was more than capable. As each team member faced their fears, the Guardian watched with approval, its presence a constant reminder that their unity was their greatest strength. Together, they were stronger than the shadows that sought to consume them. With each battle fought and fear conquered, the chamber began to glow brighter, as if responding to their newfound courage. Ava felt a shift within her. The key was drawing closer, its energy pulsing in sync with their determination. They were ready to face whatever lay ahead, united by purpose and resilience. As the shadows dissipated and light filled the chamber, the Guardian spoke again. The key is now yours, but remember, great power must be wielded wisely. As they stood before the Guardian, Ava felt a sense of triumph, but the journey was far from over. They had awakened the key, and now they must protect it from those who would seek to misuse its power. As the chamber illuminated with a brilliant glow, the Guardian raised its hand, revealing a pedestal at the center of the room. Upon it rested the key, a magnificent artifact radiating energy that pulsed in harmony with the heartbeat of the earth. Ava stepped forward, her heart racing as she reached for it. As her fingers brushed against the surface, she felt a surge of power coursing through her veins. Visions flooded her mind, glimpses of ancient civilizations and future possibilities. This key was more than a device, it was a bridge to the potential of humanity. But the moment was interrupted by a deafening crash. The ground shook violently, and the entrance to the chamber began to cave in. Ava turned in horror as debris fell around them. The mercenaries had followed their trail. They had come to claim the key. Ava's instincts kicked in as she shouted, "We need to move now." Raj grabbed the key. They sprinted toward the exit as stones tumbled down behind them, their hearts pounding in unison as the Guardian's voice echoed through the chaos. Protect it at all costs. Raj snatched the key from the pedestal, cradling it carefully as they navigated through the collapsing chamber. Dust and rocks rained down around them, but they pressed on, driven by the urgency of their mission. Just as they reached the entrance, a figure blocked their path. Victor Kane emerged from the shadows, flanked by his mercenaries, a triumphant smirk plastered on his face. "You really thought you could keep this from me?" he taunted, his voice dripping with disdain. Ava felt a surge of defiance. "We won't let you take it, Kane. You have no idea what this key truly is and what it can do," she shouted, her team forming a protective circle around her. Kane laughed, a cold sound that echoed in the chamber. "You think you can protect it with your naive ideals? The key belongs to those who can wield its power, and I will do whatever it takes to seize it." The tension in the air thickened as both sides prepared for confrontation. Ava's team stood united, their resolve stronger than ever, but the mercenaries outnumbered them. They needed a plan. Raj quickly analyzed their surroundings, spotting an ancient passageway leading deeper into the pyramid. "We can't fight them head-on," he said. "We need to create a diversion and escape down that tunnel." Ava nodded, signaling her team to follow Raj's lead. As they dashed toward the passageway, Kane and his men charged after them, shouts and gunfire erupting in the chamber. Ava felt adrenaline surge through her veins. They plunged into the darkness of the tunnel, Raj leading the way as they ran. The walls closed in around them. The air was cool and musty, but there was no time to slow down. They needed to create distance between them and Kane. In the dim light, Ava glanced back, seeing the shadows of the mercenaries flickering behind them. The sounds of pursuit echoing through the passageway spurred them onward as they navigated through the maze of ancient corridors. After what felt like an eternity, they reached a larger chamber illuminated by an ethereal glow. Ava's breath caught in her throat as they entered a vast hall adorned with murals and inscriptions detailing the history of the Guardians and their sacred mission. "This must be the heart of the pyramid," she whispered, awestruck as the murals came to life in her mind, showing the Guardians' efforts to protect humanity from cosmic threats. But they had no time to marvel at the beauty of the chamber. The mercenaries were closing in. They could hear their voices echoing down the corridor. Ava turned to her team. "We need to find a way out fast." Raj pointed toward a large stone door etched with the same symbols as the key. "This could be a way out," he said, "but we need to activate it somehow." With urgency, Ava stepped forward, holding the key against the door. As it began to pulse in response, the symbols glowed brightly, and the door began to tremble as if recognizing the key's power. As the mercenaries' shouts grew louder, the door finally creaked open, revealing a hidden exit leading into the jungle beyond. They rushed through just as the first mercenaries rounded the corner. The door sealed behind them with a resounding thud, cutting off the chaos, leaving them gasping in the cool air of the jungle. The thrill of escape mingled with the weight of their mission. They stood in silence for a moment, absorbing what had just happened. The key was safe for now, but they knew this was only the beginning. The fight for humanity's future was far from over. United, they turned their gaze toward the horizon, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the sunlight filtered through the dense canopy of the jungle, Ava and her team took a moment to catch their breath, the adrenaline of their narrow escape still coursing through their veins. But they knew they couldn't linger here. They had to regroup and plan their next move. Raj checked the key, which pulsed gently in his hand. Its energy felt alive, a reminder of their mission. Its power was a double-edged sword, and they had to wield it wisely. Ava turned to her team, determination etched on her face. "We need to decipher what the key can do and how we can use it to protect humanity." They moved deeper into the jungle, finding a clearing where they could set up a temporary camp under the thick foliage. Ava spread out the artifacts and notes from their previous digs alongside the glowing key. "This is more than just a key," she said, her eyes scanning the ancient symbols. "It's a map, a guide to unlock our potential. We must understand its purpose before we move forward." Raj nodded as he began connecting his laptop to the key. The device whirred to life, illuminating their surroundings with its glow. The ancient symbols began to pulse as if responding to their presence. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath them. A distant rumble reverberated through the trees. Ava looked up in alarm. "We need to finish this quickly," she urged as the energy from the key intensified. The laptop screen flickered, displaying a series of images and texts revealing the history of the Guardians and the key's purpose. It highlighted ancient battles fought against forces that sought to manipulate humanity. "The key grants access to dormant abilities within us," Raj explained, his fingers racing over the keyboard. "It's a tool for unlocking our full potential, but it requires unity and intention. We have to focus our minds." Ava gathered her team around the glowing artifact. Each member placed a hand on the key as they closed their eyes, concentrating on the shared vision of a united humanity. Images flooded their minds, a future where knowledge and understanding reigned, where cooperation transcended borders and differences. This is what the Guardians envisioned, she thought. This is what we must fight for. As they focused, the air around them crackled with energy. They felt the key resonating with their intentions, and suddenly a vision emerged, a path unfolding before them, leading to a hidden stronghold where they could prepare for the coming storm. "We have to go there," Raj said, his eyes wide with realization. "It's a place where we can learn how to harness the key's power and defend against the darkness that seeks to consume us." Ava opened her eyes, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "We can't waste any time if we're going to protect the key. We need to move now." Just as they were about to gather their things, the sound of rustling leaves reached their ears. Ava turned sharply as shadows emerged from the underbrush. Mercenaries they had thought were far behind had tracked them to their hideout. Kane stepped forward, a cruel smile on his lips. "You're not getting away this time," he sneered. "We've come for the key, and nothing will stop us." Ava felt a surge of determination. This time they were ready. They would not let fear dictate their actions. "We won't let you take it, Kane," she declared, her voice steady as her team formed a defensive line around the key. The mercenaries advanced with weapons drawn, but Ava could feel the energy of the key pulsing. In response to their unity and purpose, she glanced at Raj and the others, their eyes filled with resolve. "We have to fight," she shouted, and together they unleashed the potential within them. Channeling the key's energy, the air shimmered as the very fabric of reality seemed to bend around them. Ava felt a wave of power surge through her as she summoned the strength of the ancient guardians. The energy enveloped her and her team, forming a protective barrier against the oncoming mercenaries. With a blinding flash, the jungle erupted with light, illuminating the darkness. The guardians had entrusted them with this power, and they would not let it go to waste. As they faced the mercenaries, they stood united, determined to defend the future of humanity. The air crackled with tension as the confrontation began. The battle for the key was not just about power. It was a fight for the survival of all they held dear, and Ava was ready to unleash everything she had to protect it. The clash erupted with a force that shook the very ground beneath them. Ava felt the surge of energy coursing through her body as she focused on the mercenaries advancing with malicious intent. The protective barrier around her team shimmered like a force field pulsating with the key's power. Kane's mercenaries opened fire, but the bullets ricocheted off the energy shield, creating sparks that illuminated the jungle darkness. Ava felt the adrenaline rush through her veins. The stakes had never been higher. "We can't hold them off forever," Raj shouted as he focused on reinforcing their shield. The barrier flickered, but it held strong against the onslaught. Ava took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. She could feel the fear and anger of her team, but she knew they had to channel that energy into something greater. She raised her voice over the chaos. "Listen to me. We need to work together, focus on the key's power, let it guide us." With that, the team tightened their grip on the key, feeling its energy flow through them. A warm light enveloped them as they drew strength from one another. The barrier glowed brighter, pushing back against the mercenaries, who seemed momentarily taken aback. Ava could see doubt flickering in Kane's eyes, and seized the moment to press forward. As she stepped out from behind the shield, she felt a wave of power surging through her. She shouted at Kane, "This key is not just a weapon, it's a symbol of hope and unity." The mercenaries hesitated, confused by the strength of their resolve, but Kane's face twisted in fury. He rallied his men with a fierce shout, "Don't let them distract you, take them down." As the mercenaries advanced again, Ava felt the energy of the key pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. She called upon its power, channeling it into a radiant beam of light that erupted from her outstretched hand. The light struck the ground between them, creating a shockwave that sent the mercenaries sprawling. Ava watched as the barrier around her team flickered and transformed into tendrils of light, weaving through the air like vines, wrapping around the mercenaries and binding them in place. Now Raj shouted, "We have to contain them. They can't reach the key." With newfound determination, the team worked in tandem, combining their powers to fortify their defenses. As the tendrils tightened around the mercenaries, their cries of surprise echoed through the jungle. Cain struggled against the restraints, rage boiling within him. "You think this will stop me?" he bellowed, his eyes narrowing. As he reached for a hidden weapon, Ava knew they had to act quickly. She couldn't let him reach it. Drawing on her courage, she focused on the tendrils of light, feeling them respond to her, while she directed them toward Cain, wrapping him tightly. As the weapon fell from his grasp, clattering to the ground, Ava turned to her team. "We have to make sure they can't escape," she urged as they pushed their powers further, binding the mercenaries and forming a protective circle around the key. In the distance, the jungle seemed to hold its breath. The vibrant colors of life surrounding them faded as they concentrated on the task at hand. Each team member's energy flowed together, creating a shield that pulsed with light. Suddenly, Raj gasped, "The barrier is weakening. We need to stabilize it, or they'll break free." Ava felt panic rise within her, but she knew they could not falter, not now. Drawing on the strength of their shared vision, she called out to her team, "Focus on what brought us here, why we're fighting for a future free from darkness." In that moment, something shifted within them. They remembered the ancient guardians who had entrusted them with the key. Their hopes and dreams resonated within their hearts as they channeled that energy into the barrier. The tendrils tightened, the mercenaries' struggles grew weaker as the light intensified, filling the jungle with a warm glow. They were not just fighting for themselves, but for every soul on Earth who yearned for freedom. As the light reached its zenith, Eva felt a surge of victory coursing through her. This was their moment together. They would rise against the darkness as the last remnants of the mercenaries succumbed to the power of the key. With one final surge of energy, Ava shouted together, "We will protect our future." And with that, the light exploded outward, enveloping the jungle in a brilliant display of hope. As the battle for the key reached its climax, they had united against the darkness, standing firm in the face of overwhelming odds, ready to embrace the next chapter of their journey. As the brilliant light enveloped the jungle, the air shimmered with energy and hope. Ava felt an overwhelming sense of unity wash over her. The power of the key coursed through their veins, binding them together in a way they had never experienced before. With the mercenaries subdued, the tension in the air shifted. The jungle around them seemed to exhale a sigh of relief, as if acknowledging the triumph of light over darkness. Ava turned to her team, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the key. "We did it," she breathed, a wave of disbelief washing over her. But the fight was far from over. "We need to make sure they can't regroup. We have to get them out of here." Raj nodded, still catching his breath, but his eyes gleamed with determination. "Let's secure the area, then we can move forward." They quickly tied the mercenaries with the energy tendrils, ensuring they couldn't escape, before turning their attention back to the key, which still pulsed with life in Raj's hands. "What now?" Ava asked, feeling the weight of their discovery and the responsibility that came with it. Raj studied the key. "The energy it radiates is a conduit for the ancient power it holds, but we need to understand how to use it correctly," he said as he opened his laptop. Again, the images from earlier began to dance across the screen. The murals depicted not only the Guardians, but also the training and unity they had fostered among their people. "We need to learn how to harness this power together," he continued, his voice steady. Ava's heart raced with excitement and urgency. "We must find the stronghold the vision showed us. It's where we can learn and prepare for what's to come." With the mercenaries secured, they carefully retraced their steps through the jungle, navigating back to the clearing, where they had initially set up camp. Ava glanced at the key glowing steadily in Raj's grasp. It felt like a beacon guiding them toward their destiny. As they moved deeper into the jungle, they could feel the energy of the key pulsing in rhythm with their surroundings. The jungle seemed to shift around them, welcoming them into its depths. After hours of trekking through the thick foliage, they arrived at a clearing where an ancient stone structure stood covered in vines and moss. It exuded a sense of age and wisdom. The air felt charged with potential. "This must be it," Ava whispered, awe filling her voice. As they approached the entrance, the stones seemed to hum with energy in response to the presence of the key. Raj stepped forward, holding the key high above his head, as if offering it to the structure. Suddenly the entrance illuminated with a soft light, revealing intricate carvings that mirrored the symbols on the key. "The Guardians once again recognized our presence," Ava said, a thrill running through her as the doors slowly creaked open, revealing a grand hall adorned with murals and relics of the ancient civilization. They stepped inside, feeling a wave of history wash over them. "This place holds the knowledge we seek," Raj said, his eyes wide with wonder. As they moved deeper into the stronghold, they discovered chambers filled with ancient texts and devices that shimmered with the same energy as the key. "This is where we can learn to protect the key and harness its power for good." Suddenly, a voice echoed through the hall, a deep, resonant sound that filled the space. "You have come seeking knowledge, seekers of the key." It was the Guardian once again appearing before them in a radiant form. Ava felt a mix of fear and reverence as the Guardian continued, "Your victory today is but the first step. The true challenge lies ahead. There are forces still seeking the key, and you must be prepared." With that, the Guardian extended its hands, revealing a series of trials designed to test their unity and strength. "We will guide you, but you must be willing to face the depths of your abilities." Ava exchanged glances with her team and felt the weight of their mission settle over them. They had already overcome so much together, and now the path forward was clearer than ever. "We are ready," she declared, her voice firm and resolute. "United, we will protect the key and safeguard the future of humanity." And with that, they stepped forward into the light, prepared to embrace the trials that lay ahead, knowing that together they could face whatever darkness sought to challenge them, united by purpose and the promise of a brighter tomorrow.